moment, our counselors are busy helping other callers. After the beep, please leave a detailed message about how street art is affecting your life. You are not alone. There is help.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm addicted to street art. I guess that's the first part of recovery. I often walk around in the cold, taking photos of interesting street art. Definitely spending too much time on Instagram.
Hey man, I've had this problem since the early 80s. Slap stickers around the Lower East Side, Midtown. Hell, I even slapped a sticker in the fucking grocery. This is getting bad.
Al.
Hi, my name is Diaz, and I'm definitely a street art addict, if you will. I'm involved in some form of street art since 1971. I am 59 years old, and I have not stopped. I have actually in my life, I've been addicted to many things: drugs, sex, alcohol, work, and I've been able to abstain from all those vices, but street art I have yet to even, I have no interest in abstaining from it, or I have no intention of doing that. So I have a very long history of street art, and it has actually caused me problems in life, where similar to say something like heroin addiction or alcoholism. I've been beat up, I've been arrested, I've been, it's had its adverse effects as well as some beneficial effects. But if I look at my history of addictive behavior, the first manifestation of something that was, like curious, and I imagine my mother would agree with this, my mother and my father, my mother being the one that was around more to see it, that I couldn't stop writing in, graffiti. It was obsessive. It was in my books, on my pants. I couldn't stop doing it. And as a result, I developed a good hand for it, which is, I guess, one benefit. But on the other hand, it probably took away from concentration on other things that I should have probably been doing, like math or something, at this point in my life, but it's taken to this point, I'm going to be 59 this year, I can actually make a living from, my street art history, my knowledge of street art, and my connection to Basquiat, who I turned on to graffiti. Basquiat is, contrary to popular opinion due to misinformation, was not a graffiti artist. I have a first-generation graffiti. As a matter of fact, I just came from my friend and associate Coco 144. He had a closing party for a show and if anybody knows about graffiti history, Coco was one of the first members of the UGA, which is the first organized organization, a real organization that was actually paid to do graffiti in New York in 1973. We were just watching the Twyla Thorpe, it was the Joffrey Ballet. The Joffrey Ballet, and they had the UGA painting the backdrops as they're coming. That was revolutionary because we were juvenile delinquents. This was not there was no glorification. It wasn't, you weren't being nurtured by your Montessori school mom to go and, you should be involved with street art and beautify. It was not beautification. It was a pissing contest between a bunch of kids that wanted to be famous in what we thought was famous. It was an ego thing, totally ego thing. It was, I'm going to be famous. And then as a result, your hand style became, that's where the art came in. But initially, it was generated, that was a feeling of, I want to do some crazy shit. It was a sport. Anyway. But that's getting back to Coco 144, one of the first guys, one from Washington Heights, which is arguably the spawning ground for graffiti culture. Anyway, Jean-Michel did not come up through those ranks. We had a way of dressing, a way of talking, a way of being. It was like if you were a skateboarder and you didn't skate, right? We had a way of doing things, and you had to, and that was, you know, even though we were still like creating that culture, we still, you know, everybody, there was a certain way of being. It was identity, being a graffiti artist, and he never was within that. He never was that person. He wasn't a graffiti guy. You couldn't hang out and say, "Yo, you seen the new Stay High?" You know, he wouldn't talk that talk. Mm-hmm. So therefore, I mean, he became a graffiti artist during what we did. We did Samo together, and he, like I said, I turned him on to graffiti. He became a graffiti artist for those 2 years that we did the Samo thing for, because that's all it lived for, was 2 years.
Let me ask you a question. And you're saying street art can be an addiction as you identify yourself as a street art addict.
Well, I'm an addict in general to whatever it is that stimulates, that touches that's the pleasure center in my mind. So not specific to graffiti or street art, but that does do that. So that gives me the endorphin rush that, you know, that the same like heroin would do, you know, like I want to do more.
Got it.
And so for that reason, I'm not saying that it's specific, perhaps to someone like, maybe it's not an addiction to him, but anything that I get that excited about, generally because I am of an addictive personality, becomes an addiction, you know.
Got it.